Okay, back again. We're going to be sliding the rotating group into the housing of the pump. So in a previous video, I did the valve plate, the bearing, and the compensator plunger. I built this and then I did that. So we're going to be sliding the two together. So I have this little holder that I use, but we're not going to use it for now. We're going to lay it on its side. What I'm going to do is put my hand to support it so that nothing will fall out. And then I'm going to, I might use this box to maybe support it. Maybe it's a little too tall. Let's use a shaft here. Yeah, that's probably a lot better. So you want to support it flat. You don't want to have it any crazy angles because this valve plate will just fall out and then we start over again. But anyway, so this is all clean. Everything is all clean, and I just put some gear oil on everything here before I slide it in. That will just pre-lubricate it when we go to dry start. There's no rubbing of the metal. What you want to do is just slide it in. Alright. Tilt it back. This is an old drive shaft off another motor. I'm using it as a brace. We're going to go back to our plate, or metal bracket thing, if you want to call it that. And that's pretty much about it. You can see it is sitting flush. It's not protruding out. If it sticks up a lot, that means that the pins inside may have popped out, or a shoe popped out, or whatever it may be. It has popped out. But that's pretty much all done. I'm going to go around the flashlight just to make sure there's nothing that has moved or shifted. Make sure the spring is in place. Make sure the saddles are good. Make sure the rotating group is okay. It's sitting flush, which it is. So next we're going to be putting our O-ring onto this frame. We get some grease, and we're just going to apply into the groove here. So that was the only tricky part about this whole pump, is the rotating group, putting it back in the frame. The rest of it's pretty easy. It's nothing too tricky. That's the only hard part I find. Even myself, I have to redo it sometimes because it just simply didn't cooperate the first time around. This time it happened, I just slid right in. So just do note is make sure you align those two splines. There's the rotating group spline and there's that crown spline. But, so here's your O-ring that came in the factory seal kit. Get my fingers and just work it in there. It's okay, but the grease comes out. Just work it in there, swirl it around. And we're going to put a bit of grease on this face because there's an O-ring that will seal on here as well. You want it slightly lubricated. You don't want a dry steel. Moisture will creep in and it will rust in pretty bad. Sometimes they have to be refaced, the housing, because they will just simply rust. Okay, so here's the opportunity to put some more gear oil into the shoes. I pour it in just like that. Again, no dry start. Everything is lubricated, greased, or oiled. So the two pieces of metal, when the pump does turn on the engine, it doesn't just pick up and grind out. So that's pretty much done. We're going to be putting our back cover on next. So here's our back cover. Remember before I put some grease on there. That's kind of important. You put your thumb on the bearing to support it, and my hand on the compensator, and we're just going to lower it down. Oh, that just popped out. Let's put that in there then. Sometimes they don't want to agree. Alright, slide it down very gently. Make sure there's nothing pinching. Okay. that is pretty much done. We're gonna get some bolts on next. Before that, we're gonna push down like that and make sure nothing is in wrong or there's nothing kinked. The screws in. We're gonna tighten by hand only because let's say you get the impact wrench and tighten it up crazy, it might break something inside, or you might warp the plate. I believe they're 10. Not 10. Yeah, they're 8 mil. Again, there should be just a little bit of preload. You can see right here a bit of a spacing. That's the preload off that spring off the valve plate. If there's too much, then there might be something jammed in there and not cooperating. Be very cautious when tightening them down. So I'm only doing by hand only, so there's no chance of me breaking a pin, or you might torque this thing up and all it heard is a ping or a tick or a crack. That's something jamming in there and severely damaging the pump. You don't want to do that. So just by hand only first, and then once it is flush, we're going to torque it later on. But that's not now. We're just gonna make sure that all the parts are rightly assembled into the side of the pump, which they are. Wipe off the extra grease. So this is the 45 Series K. It's a danfoss, sauer danfoss pump. We use this a lot in industrial purposes or mobile. And here's our compensator. This one's special. It doesn't have, most compensators have an actual screw with an Allen key. This one's flush. So that's a special. That's a special compensator. Most compensators you can actually adjust, but I recommend not doing that. This is again a special type of compensator. I don't really know the name of it offhand, but I know it's special, and we're not touching it. That is factory set. So that is pretty much about it. We're going to be making sure everything is done, making sure everything is tight. Quick, we're going to show you the seal kit. That's the seal kit number for the 45K series pump. This is the rear bearing kit for the this is the rear bearing kit. That's the number. And here is the front bearing kit. This goes where the shaft seal is located. That's that part number. And this is the saddle bearing kit. Those yellow bearing kits we swapped out. That's the part number right there. So pretty much that's the seal kit, 2 bearings, and the saddles. That's what I replaced on this pump because they are worn. That's pretty much about it. I'm going to torque all these bolts, or all these, the bolts up,